Okay. Okay, we're back. Stephano's with us too. We're just waiting on DnS to let us know if he's good to go. But it's a French versus French matchup, guys. DnS versus Stephano. I just linked in chat, by the way, time stamped at 22 minutes in. That is the Neeb versus Snoot game I was referring to earlier. It is legitimately the most crazy game of StarCraft 2 I've ever seen. And I do not believe, I challenge you to find a game that pushes the maximum of PvZ further than this matchup. But looks like they're ready to go, so let's just get going. Anyways, it's a very long game. I wouldn't recommend watching it now because it is like an hour long. But it is... Oh, no, I'm looking at YouTube. It's been pirated already. Fucking Zerg TV. This is what kills me about things, guys, with YouTube, right? I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the search list. This exact game that I just linked you guys on our channel has a little over 6,000 views. A channel that has pirated this has 25,000 views on the same game. Shout out to those guys. I just love doing all this content only for it to get pirated regularly. You know, people are like, Rifkin is such a salty, jaded SOB. And it's because stuff like this has been wearing me down for years, boys. But okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the finals of the group. I know I kept misspeaking about it earlier, but this is actually the finals of the group. The winner of this moves on with mana, and the loser is out. Or, as we say in Canada, out. Spawning in the top left, he is playing from France. For France. And Protoss. I don't know. It's DnS! Play for Cascade. Of course, to the bottom right, it's the pink Zerg player, Stephano. Same thing. France, Zerg, blah, blah, blah. Play for Meltdown. I'm looking at couple more times for people that missed it in chat. There you go. But okay, Stephano, I think, really surprised me at the start of this group with a 3-0 over Hero Marine to start. That's insane to me. But the fact that he just lost the mana, maybe not so crazy. As I had mentioned way before we got into this, it might have something to do with the matchup and the race balance more than the players or their own skill. We'll find out now as he fights versus DnS. Maybe Mana was just like that next echelon player that he couldn't beat, but maybe it's not Protoss. Maybe he actually can beat DnS. I don't know. But yo, we just had Blue Greg hit us with a Prime sub, another new sub, and then DeWitt, thank you very much, DeWitt49 for the 41-month resub comes in to say screw them pirates. Hoi 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 hoi. I know. You know, I just quoted one of the ones off YouTube. It's worse. The Chinese sites. Like, it breaks my heart, right? Because it's just got so many more views than what we get. We had this one game. I can't remember what it was a while back. I think it was like Euthermal vs. Nurchio or something. And it had like 10,000 views. It was like one of our bigger views on YouTube. I was so proud and excited to see that we had something reach 5 digits in views. Then someone links me that some Chinese casters like just basically pirated it, put it up on their site, and it was like fucking 104,000 views. I'm like, come on, man. I was just finished getting so excited about us doing so well. This is a big part of why I gave up with YouTube. Honestly, stuff like that was getting so ridiculous. And yes, there's people who do still pirate our live stream, but we do so well on our live stream that I don't care. Our YouTube channel, it's disheartening. Twitch is empowering. But yo, anyways, less about that. No more whining. We got a good game ahead of us. A good series too. As again, this is game 1 of the best of 5 for the finals of the European Group 1 in the round of 32. But I do remind you guys that who are watching this live, I hope you'll come back and join me tomorrow, because same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific. I don't know what time that is in the other time zones off the top of my head. We got another group set up. It's 5 best of 5s. Harstem, Bly, Snoot, and Optimus. Very excited for that group. And of course, we've already completed both the North American groups and one of the Korean groups, so we're actually almost done with the round of 32, as crazy as that is to consider. And this is kind of annoying with the Adepts, forcing a cancel. I like the fact that he did cancel that, by the way. If that had finished, it would have just died to the Adepts, so it's a real minor detail, but good cost efficiency. The Adepts did so much damage to the Queen, though she doesn't even have a chance to fight back. But the Zerglings remove the Adepts from the equation at least. 2 Queens can take on this Oracle, and Spore Crawlers are finishing up too. So Stephano says, look, dude, I've just dealt with this for like 4 games. I don't got time for your BS in game number 5, even though it's game 1 between these two. Of course, we do have Phoenix following this up, so a small alteration to what we've seen in the previous games. I actually think that Phoenixes I like them a lot more than Oracles. As I said, Oracles, when they get out of control and get out of hand, they look ridiculous and they look unfair. But they're not actually that good, and when dealt with correctly are kind of a waste of money. Again, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, my best recent example of this would be to check out Snoot versus Haas in their WCS Montreal match together. That best of 5 went to the extremes of Oracles, and Snoot handled it like a pro. And I've seen nobody else handle it nearly as clean as him. So if you are a Zerg player who's just so frustrated at dealing with Protoss Air and you don't know what to do, that would be the model I would suggest. Even though it wasn't like the best games objectively of all time, it's still one of the best ways I've seen people deal with that mass Oracle strategy. Rifkin, you need to file a copyright claim and get money off them. So here's the problem, guys. We produce so much content that so much of it gets pirated. If I were to spend all my time copyright claiming, we wouldn't have time to make new content. So the sad reality is we accept the losses where we do and just keep moving on. I appreciate your support here, though. This is honestly what drives me to keep doing it. But, yo, like I said, done with YouTube drama. Don't want to talk about that for now. Stephano gets shut down. Unfortunately, almost gets that pylon. Gets in there for some damage. Excuse me, I meant the Zealot. The pylon did, of course, live. But the Banelings fell short. He was really hoping that everything DnS was doing would be looking over here and he could sneak the Banelings in over here. But even then, I guess the Zealot was in the wall, so that attack falls short no matter how you look at it. +1 melee starts up too, so he's not going to be looking towards Hydras at least too much for this. Or sorry, I said it starts up. I meant completed. So Stephano has 64 drones, some pretty good worker count, and more to the point, DnS hasn't super invested into air in a ridiculous manner. You know, only one Stargate for now. He made some limited Oracles and a Phoenix. In fact, this Phoenix is going to kill an Overlord, which should never happen. Not like this, at least. And while this goes on, he's doing Archon drops. This is like Zest back in the day, you know, just a good strategy. I like it. It works. Good players have made this part of their career, but it comes down to the player handling. You can't just simply go 2 Archons and win. You got to control these well. You got to make sure you don't take too much damage from it. The Banelings want to get in there. You know they do, but the Archons will blast them away. So this charge lots dance left and right to split. The Oracles are perhaps a little bit much. Banelings can hit what they can. This does draw attention away from the hatchery, but I think that hatchery is still destined to die. He's going to bring a Spine Crawler in here. This is a really interesting choice, but with charge lots on the way, seeing 5 of them starts making more Banelings. He needs Banelings to deal with this. He somehow manages to find a way to hold on to the hatchery for now, but still a couple more Archon blasts and this goes down. He does have a transfuse, tries to keep it alive, keeps the dream of this hatchery going. Even if this lives, though, this is going to be so weak. Another attack later could easily execute the base, but a gold base is a gold base, and Stephano wants to be mining off of that gold base. Not targeting the Warp Prism, he does get one of the Archons. I'm kind of surprised DnS lets this slip, but now aware he did this because he was warping in a lot of Zealots to the main. All of Stephano's attention was drawn northwards. We don't have Banelings or Zerglings ready to intercept this, and there's no Hydras out just yet. These Zealots focusing on the lair, these Archons focusing on the hatchery. Stephano is torn really thin between 2 different locations. Is he going to get the hatchery? It's getting so low. He might just barely do it. He does. It's not even a hatchery, excuse me. He gets the lair of all things, too. Meanwhile, this base is still left up, but barely. As the queens start going down, there's not going to be transfuses, force out hatchery, and any Warpins could execute the base. A double base snipe out of DnS this early could be fatal to Stephano. Oh, Warp Prism heading back towards the main. Round 2 of these Zealots. There's not really a lot more for them to kill. I guess getting the spawning pool on the Hydralisk Den would certainly be a nuisance. Hydralisk Den especially because he couldn't remake it. This, if he had focused this down, actually, he would have gotten it. You know, half health on the spawning pool is a lot of wasted damage. If he'd been able to shut this down, you know, not only did he kill the lair so he can't remake this, he wouldn't have gotten the Hydralisk speed or their +1 range on the attacks. This would have absolutely devastated Stephano as far as making Hydras. But another spawning pool starts up in anticipation of losing the one in the main. I guess that's not such a bad idea. Banelings catch some of the probes, maybe on the retreats. There's some Templar there too. Banelings actually have a lot of power right now. And this base, getting surrounded by Zerglings, losing control of his own gold. Stephano did never lose this base, by the way. He actually kept it alive, so he's got some pretty good income coming away from it, but Zerglings will not be able to kill his base. Not until the Hydras get in here. Well, there's certainly enough Banelings to catch some of these Zealots if they're foolish enough to charge the front line, but if DnS does this correctly, he holds all those Zealots behind the Archons, he uses the Storms and the Archons to remove the Banelings, then he unleashes the Zealots on top of the Hydras. And that's pretty much what he's been doing so far. Good control, loses the gold base, but takes out a lot of Hydras and Banelings in the process. Overall, pretty good defense out of DnS. And Stephano is the one kind of flailing to get back into this after having lost that layer in the main. He's just kind of letting everything here expire. He's not even trying to retake this base. I mean, I still don't know if I want to classify this as an all-in, but the fact that Stephano's not expanding to a 4th / I guess technically 5th at this point makes me very worried that he has decided to all-in with it. But then at the same time, he makes a bunch of spine crawlers at home for defense, so I really don't know what's going through his mind right now. More warpins towards the main, and oh no, the Hydralisk then going down is going to be really tough to deal with. He didn't remake another one ahead of time. He doesn't have a layer, so he can't remake one. At this point, it's all the Zerglings and all the Banelings. These last 4 Hydras popping will be the last ones for a fair bit of time, as the layer right now is only just started. Not even close to completing. And he picks off the Immortal, but he doesn't want to stick around to get those probes. He knows that there's Templar and Archons nearby, and he can't afford to lose Hydras. Normally, he could afford to lose those Hydras, and normally he could afford to take that loss, but not here. Stephano's banking a lot of money, too. A little bit worried about this. I think his larva's not the problem, although it is right now. It's also just his production. You know, the only thing he can make right now is Zerglings. Maybe a couple of Banelings, but mostly just Zerglings. So yeah, no macro hatchery. Now taking that 4th. Having lost the main, finally retakes this. I don't know. He's gotten some control of the map. I'll give him that much. But my concern is that, you know, he lost so much in the early game. He really got stuck here. He just got stuck in the mid game. While this goes on, DnS, though, did not propel himself further. He didn't get up to a fleet beacon. He doesn't have Colossus. He's relying primarily on Storms and Archons, which, by the way, are perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. But he's not advancing himself. So it's interesting the way Stephano's been literally playing catch-up because DnS hasn't kept running. He just kind of stopped in the middle of the race and started taunting Stephano with these really big and expensive units. Stephano in the finals. Yeah, if anyone's just tuning in, this is the finals of the group. Whoever wins this best of 5 gets out, goes to the round of 16, and that's where the prize money starts for this tournament. If you haven't seen, by the way, type in !Matcherino. You can use the code TINGOPEN to add $1 to the prize pool for free, but you can also see the payout and percentages and see just how much each player will get for reaching each leg of the tournament. I think right now, last place is about $45 or something like that, or 41. Pretty nice. You'll get something for just making it out of the group. Zealots get the jump on this. The army for Stephano is northwards. He's looking to maybe come in from 2 different angles. If that's the case, then he can at least get away from the wall of Archons that's in front and maybe catch some of the Templar in the back, but that's where DnS has to pay attention. Storms land in the backside and Archons push off in the front. This does not look like a winnable fight for Stephano. He is going to maybe take some Archons down with him in the back, but for the most part, the front of the army still remains untouched. Finally, though, he gets to use that bank. 13 Hydralisks on the way and 10 Zerglings coming out, but that's the problem. They're all on the way, so they'll be coming from many different directions, split, and as long as DnS keeps reacting, looks to the right, looks to the left, etc., he can probably take on each of these armies individually. Again, these storms are looking really nice. Next warp when the Zealots comes in. No Banelings because the Baneling nest was picked off, so there's no way to deal with the Zealots. These can deal with the Hydras. Most of the storms weaken them up. There's the charge. There's the executes. GG. DnS takes the game. Very nicely done. Kuska La Koopa Coop. First off, you have a very fun name to read, even if I'm saying it wrong. Second, it says, how can I auto-contribute $1? You can't auto-contribute $1, but you can contribute $1 for free by using the code TINGOPEN. Ting Opan. Man, it gets really tough to talk when you're solo casting, guys. We got Ascension Ire coming up next, but looks like we're going to need another quick BRB. So I hate to do it to you guys. I guess a swift break, and we'll see you for game 2 just a moment. All right, folks, welcome back to the Ting Open Group Finals. It's still a best of 5, but it's still a PvZ. If you guys are watching for the United States, be sure to check out our sponsors. But other than that, spawning here in the lower right, we've got the blue Zerg player Stephano. With his opponent in the top left, the red Protoss DnS. Both of these players are French, and they're both pretty good at StarCraft 2. I was a little bit worried DnS would not do too well, but you know, he really brought it back from the losers match, and he's kicking some ass here to start off the finals. I don't know if maybe PvZ is just like the Kryptonite to Stephano, because he looks so like it's crazy to me how unstoppably good he was versus Hero Marine, to how much he's getting beaten to a pulp by the Protoss here, both by Mana in the group winners bracket and the finals total here. I'm hoping he can start bringing this back, though. I really like his aggression. You know, the game he brought it back versus Mana was granted more of a defense and a deflect rather than like a dominate and win. But it shows to me very clearly he can make things work in the matchup when he knows exactly what's coming. Maybe this would look different if he had map hacks. I don't know, but Protoss has proven to be a problem for him so far. Also, big thank you to Milius Pro. This is worth it for 20 months in a row. Thank you for coming back. Glad to have you. But okay, Stephano went for 3 hatch gas pool. This is about as greedy as you're gonna get, and kind of risky. If DnS is gonna put any kind of pressure on, maybe he'll feel the burn. But frankly, I don't know. Stephano has... I think at this point, no matter what build he goes to, he takes damage in the early game. It's just about minimizing how much he takes. Also, yo, my dude with the funny name, Kusalakapupa Poopa Poop. Shit, hang on, let me give that another try. Kusa La Koopa Coop. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. I hope that was anywhere close to the realm of being how your name is said. But okay, this probe being kind of annoying. You know, it saw the spawning pool timing. I don't think he actually needs to scout the third to know there's a third, but he's probably going to check this out. Or not. On his way out. Double adepts being chroned out actually could be really annoying. I mean, the benefit of this third hatchery is if you are looking for a heavier queen defense early on, you'll have that production. You'll have those queens. But the downside is, of course, that's all you'll really be relying on. So now some Zerglings are on the way, but speed's pretty far out. These first adepts might get some good damage in. The other part of this, too, that's a problem, there's a lot of creep spread you have to cover between these bases. So queens can transfer between the main and the natural with relative ease, but getting over to that third might just be too much of a task. That's where the Zerglings really come into play. Well, he fends off these first couple, but another transfer comes in. Queens are out of position for the transfer, so drones get pulled away. Not very fun. Someone in chat says, I thought Mana beat Stephano. You are correct. Stephano lost to Mana in the group winners match. That's why Stephano's here in the group finals. Mana's already won, and he's out of the group. He's in the round of 16. There are no other games Mana needs to play today because he is good to go. Also, again, while I've been talking about following the channel and all these other things, we have so many events coming up for this month, some of which I'll be casting solo like this weekend, some of which Zombie Grub will be back for, some of which Maynard will be joining in for. Did not expect that to be the tap out. Okay, GG. He was sick of chasing those adepts. DnS with a quick 2-0. I was just going to segue to follow our events tab because I thought we had some time, but yeah, those adepts got really out of hand. And to be clear, I think a lot of it did have to do with his choice. Where's McDepot here? His choice to have gone for those 3 hatcheries. Like, he wasn't punished in the classic sense, but it's just too much to keep up with. People saying he's on pill. What happened to Stephano? Yeah, I don't know, guys. There's been some problems, though. Like, legitimately, not giving an excuse here, but to explain, a lot of the pauses he's been taking has been because his frames have been dropping. He's had to take little BRBs here and there throughout the day as well. I hope he's feeling okay. I hope there's actually not some external factor that's affecting his play, but there might be. That's the concern here. Oof. All right, we're gonna go to Interloper, or excuse me, Mech Depot. See you guys in game. That was perfectly timed. Mr. Kickbox, thank you for that 16-month resub. Yeah, boy! All right, we're getting into game number 3, and this might be it, guys. I'll explain what he said in the lobby to cause my face to react the way it did in just a moment. But before then, to the bottom left, representing Meltdown, the esports bar, it's the pink Zerg Stephano. And to the top right, the red Protoss DnS. All right, so Stephano's just kind of like, go, 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 go. I'm getting tired, and this is ugly. I don't love reading stuff like that, guys. And not because, like, oh, I think that they should be held to a better standard and shouldn't talk like this or nothing like that. I just feel bad at that point, you know? Maybe he's feeling really defeated, having just come off of losing to Mana the way he did. Then DNS is running him ragged like this, the quick tap out of last game. I don't think Stephano's going to phone it in, but I think right now we're like on super triggered status, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to read too much into it. I don't know enough about Stephano's personality because he's only... Like, I've watched him stream here and there, but he's not been around to all these events. We haven't got to watch him like Drogo and a bunch of others and how they react to these situations. So, I don't know. It is what it is. People are pointing out the recent follow. Yeah, so here's a fun story. I don't even know how I feel about this anymore. There's a guy who has, and I'm not exaggerating, over 300 accounts banned right now, who keeps coming back to the channel with names like Rifkin Diet Fail, Rifkin Double Chin, Rifkin Triple Chin, and says dumb stuff in chat, spams dumb stuff in chat, and then we time him out. And I guess now he's using the follower notifications to take advantage of this. It's just like, man, I don't know if he thinks it bothers us. I think, yeah, Terminator says it best in chat. I think he actually has a crush on me, which is really awkward because, like, maybe he's a super nice dude. Maybe he's actually a really cool guy you'd want to grab a beer with, but he doesn't act like it. But yeah, if we were to show you guys our ban list, I'm really not exaggerating because he's been doing, this is like something cute. It happened for like a week. We're like, okay, some kid's mad. He doesn't like Rifkin. We get it. But he's been doing this for like a year. So like, seriously, a crush on Rifkin, I think, is the only explainable reason. So I think that makes sense to me, at least. Oh, so yo, Texas is gone in chat. How you doing, man? You're just in time for the series to possibly be over. Because again, this 2-0 for DNS puts him in a fantastic spot to join Mana, which, by the way, would blow me away because everything we've done Europe related for the last like year has been Zerg dominated. But again, the European groups got changed up for this. Laser was in Korea at the time of this tournament starting. Cyril in Korea at the time of this tournament starting. People preparing for BlizzCon. A lot of the prominent Zergs that would normally dominate these types of groups were not available for play. So this really changes up the European representation. And, you know, players like Snoot, I think every season of the TING Open have made at least the round of 8, and in many cases, the round of 4. Snoot was, of course, one of the players flown out to play live in California earlier this year at the Corsair headquarters. Ooh, I like that sound. Hang on, play that again. There's no message with it, so thank you, Krugerson. Don't $10. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, man. But yeah, so whether Snoot gets out of his group alive or not, we'll find out. Man, I can't even. You guys, too good to me today. Texas is gone, my dude. I was happy enough to see you in chat. Now I'm extra happy to see you with that sub. What's up, my dude? Thank you very much. But where was I? Right, so yeah, not a lot of Zerg. Changes up the representation. This first group, 2 Protoss possibly sailing through it, means that already we know the round of 16 might be half of Protoss. It's crazy to me. And I only bring this up because Snoot, who has consistently made the round of 8 in every TING Open so far, his greatest weakness right now is Protoss. He's amazing TvZ. You give him any Terran player, I think he kills them. Even Koreans, I'll go as far as to say that. But I know he's feeling very self-conscious about versus Protoss, I guess we could say. And it's not his best matchup objectively, so if the round of 16 is half Protoss, it might be the first time ever we don't see Snoop make it that far in the tournament. Christopher 72304, thank you very much for hitting us up with that Prime sub. Prime subs are so good, guys. We talked about it earlier. We'll get into it more later. But for now, we're going to watch Stephano try and get a cancel on his third. But the Oracle is here. There's not a lot he can do with the Mothership Core policing this base as well. He does have some pretty good creep spread. And his drone count's not too bad. This is actually not a game where he cut a lot of workers before start making lings, but he does not have that sweet, sweet 70 count just yet. But +1 melee and a lot of Zerglings on the way. Hoping to just bait out energy and maybe waste overcharges. Duck in, duck out, and then when everything's weak, go in for the kill with that +1. Isn't Zombie doing Kings of the North this weekend? Yeah, so I don't know if she's like already in Toronto or if she arrives later, but that's the reason I'm stuck doing all these groups solo, because Zombie Grub is casting Kings of the North. I'm trying to remember who else is there. I know No Regrets there, Fear Dragon's there, Steadfast, who, if you guys caught some of the DreamHack Montreal casting, I did. Steadfast was the guy who was casting with me. And I want to say 2 other people I can't remember off the top of my head. No disrespect to these folks. Mr. Kingbox wants to know if there's any Terrans in the round of 16 for the Ting Open. So far, Masa is one, and I think somebody for the Korean group, but I can't remember. Actually look into that while this Void Ray goes ham. No, that's right. I forgot. A laser killed Gumiho in the Korean group. I totally forgot about that. So right now, the only Terran in the round of 16 is Masa from the North American group. For those who haven't been keeping up with the rest of the Ting Open, Scarlet, Jon Snow, Neeb, Masa, Solar, a laser, and Mana plus whoever wins this best of 5 will be the players qualified through so far. But we still have a Korean group that has both innovation and alive, but also hero and stats. We have the other qualifier group with Keen and Jakshi. There's potential for more Terrans, but I didn't realize how few there were already. Double Warp Prism is actually a tactic that not only DnS but Mana was using as well. So I love that Stephano's on top of this, but there might be too many Queens segmented over here for this Warp Prism. Let's see if there's enough to defend this Warp in. I think if he just keeps his Banelings back and hits the Zealots, avoids the Archons, he should be golden. In fact, that's exactly what's happened here so far. Hydras, unfortunately, have the Zealots charged right on top of them, but Stephano actually controls his Banelings. Instead of just letting them A-move, he intentionally keeps them away from the Zealots, doesn't waste the Banelings, plays really cost-efficient on this defense. I give him 5 stars out of 5 on that hold, because it also kept this Warp Prism at bay. These are the types of moves Stephano really needs. Not just because, like, oh, he's a player that we expect to play very well. He's actually just needing, like, down on his last life in the series, he's got to pull out all the stops. No pulling punches, and he's got to just try his damnedest if he wants to stay alive. Oh, this is going to be such a good attack for him. Even though there's storms almost good to go. Well, he's not going to take advantage of the timing. I was gonna say, there was like 15 seconds on storms when I started speaking, so he gets in here, kills those pylons, he wouldn't even have to commit, but now there's gonna be like 6 or 7 storms waiting for him. Double overcharge just popped too. He sees those Templar. He's guessing on that timing. Storm's finished now. Bailey's rolling in. Hydra's actually danced through a lot of this. The ones to the south need some pretty nasty damage, but this base is gonna get canceled. This base is gonna get killed. DnS loses the Nexus. Pushing on the right side now, there's only really Templar remain. There's not a big wave of Zealots. If there were Zealots in this would be an easy hold, but DnS doesn't have anything. Stephano's just crushed the army. He's pushing in for what little there is left, and instead of going for the third, he goes for the natural. This might not be a great idea, but this is not where DnS just warped in all his reinforcements, so there's a chance that he just gets up here, but not up the top of the ramp. Focus the Archon down. Not enough damage to these Zealots. GG, ladies and gentlemen. Stephano takes game 3, and he's going to hold on to this series for just a little bit longer. It's good to see Stephano not giving up. Again, when he said I was tired, go, 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 I was really worried he was just like throwing the towel in at that point. But yo, we're going to go to game number 4 here in a moment. Small commercial break before we do. We'll see you guys here in game. Oh shit, this doesn't happen often, but something really important happened a second before he came back from the intro, guys. Stephano canceled a drone. You may have heard it, I'm not sure. But Stephano canceled a drone and chose to go for the 12 pool instead. So he's looking to really turn up the heat here in game number 4. He's got 1 point on the board, but still on his last life. In the top left, it's Stephano. And in the bottom right, he's gone for a pretty early scout, and thank God he did. It's the red Protoss DnS. Now the problem is, even though you scout this coming, it's not necessary. Oh, he doesn't scout it yet. You might see the drones. I think there's a bit of fickle third base shenanigans going on, but this is if anything kind of like a fake. DNS going to the main is not what Stephano wanted to have happen. Luckily though, he's not exactly going to be any better off to deal with it. We've seen this actually happen many times. If you take your first pylon out here because you're looking to do a quick expand, this puts it out in a pretty exposed location. If these 6 Zerglings can actually just kill this pylon, it's game over. Slow, speed, doesn't matter. If this pylon dies, the game usually ends. I love DNS putting down the second pylon already. That is, oh, that is how you do it. So if the Zealot comes out, it's going to have to sit in the wall. If it sits in the wall, it can't reach the Zerglings, and the Zerglings can then chew away at the gateway or the cyber core, whatever. The pylon's no longer the priority. That being said, Stephano's also not really all-inning with this, as weird as that is to consider. He really wants to bait the Zealot out, by the way, and kill it, surround it, and go in. But probes are pulled to make sure this doesn't get too out of hand. DNS is handling this really well. This is such a good response. Sorry guys, I'm getting a little bit gushy, because normally this is handled so stupid and so poorly. But Stephano, unfortunately, did cut workers to make this happen. He literally canceled the first worker he was building this game to make this happen, and it doesn't net him any gains in this game. The only difference here is that DNS may have taken his own expansion slightly later than he had expected to otherwise, but now he's good to go. Stephano's checking for proxy pylons. I like this just to be safe, but frankly, he's got to be worried about the counterattack. It sounds silly to say, but 2 Zealots and Adept, they'll usually walk across the map and kill the queens. 1 Zealot can 1v1 a queen. You add in an Adept or another Zealot and things get really bad. He's not going to pull both Zealots though, interesting enough. I guess he's really worried there's more Zerglings waiting to go in, because Stephano, by the way, is exactly the type of guy to do that. But playing it super safe as he possibly can. DNS goes across the map for a bit of harass. I don't think this is something that Stephano cannot manage. He should be okay. He's not going to be able to walk out to the 3rd too easily, though, for lack of creep spread, and that kind of sucks. If he had speed already done, this would be different too, but of course that came a little bit later, so that's still about halfway from finishing. People are already calling Stephano to lose because of the opening of this game. I'm not going to agree with that necessarily, but if he fumbles this attack, if he doesn't handle the defense well, then that might be the case. But so far, so good. He actually kept the Lings in a really sweet ring around the rosy to avoid the Adept fire to get on top of the Zealot. Excellent start to the defense. And Jackson walks away. There's a Dark Shrine following this up too for DNS, but before anyone gets too excited, that might not just simply be DTs. I would like for him to do the version of this that's DTs first and then into Archons, but he might just go straight into Archons because he's already shown that that's a style he likes to play. Zergling's darking down here. You know, actually what would have been really cool is if he had made one of these overlords into a drop overlord. Got that up to the main or something, but he's got no scouting on this Dark Shrine. No idea this is here. I don't know whether this will get him killed or not. But what I do know is it's going to be a pain to deal with because that Warp Prism is going to be shuttling across the map here any moment once it's done completing. And oh man, Spore Cores are coming down, so the DT element of this won't be so bad. The part I fear is the Archon element of this. You can't go just a bunch of Zerglings. Those are going to get mowed down by Archons, especially if he's going to do the drag and drop technique of just like handling this exactly as he needs to. DNS should be okay to do some pretty good harass at low cost. It's going to really take Stephano messing up for this to I guess, lose the game for him, but he's going to take some damage no matter what. Oh, he is going to do the DT version of this. Okay, but he's going to be shut down pretty quickly. Schlafhammer in chat wants to know if he's going straight to Archons without DTs, why not do the Templar Archive instead? And it has to do with the mineral gas management. So if you go to High Templar, they cost way too much gas. You actually can't afford to make 4 High Templar this early in the game. Not comfortably, at least. DTs cost more minerals, less gas, so it's a little more preferable. Plus, you can do moves like this where you go in, and if they don't have a Spore Crawler, your DTs really get out of hand, and they deal a ton of damage. The fact that this failed, he pulls back, now he'll make them in the Archons, and he's still good to go with the strategy he originally wanted to do. However, while he might be doing a lot... Oh no, the Warpin's over here, a mistake! Not realizing he's going to need more for the defense, this third base gets cancelled. Now, I say a mistake, hold on, that's only in context of the defense. If he's going to go full offense with this, 4 Zealots and a bunch of Archons, could get the damage done. But the Overlord saw that Warp Prism move over the side. He responds immediately. He's got Spine Crawlers on the way, Queen's in position. This attack shouldn't get away with too much. And if Stephano can defend while having killed his opponent's third, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. Queens are about the only thing that can take damage from Archons without getting blown away. I was going to say something much worse there, but stop myself. Good job, Ripkin. Good defense out of Stephano. Good to flex. Downside is, though, by making all these Zerglings, all these Queens, like, he's a little bit behind in drones. He's had to make a bunch of Spine Crawlers. He's really worried about defending against harassment here. And these Spine Crawlers are costly. These are not cheap things to defend with. So he's going to go for another cancel on the third. If he gets this again, that's going to be really good. Meanwhile, the Archons are still a problem. If he can get the Warp Prism, that removes so much of this from the equation, but he can't just simply dive in for it like we see him trying to do multiple times. The Archons will chunk out units that do. Yo, Tough Kitty Club! Welcome to the channel! Well, I know you've been here for all day pretty much, but thank you for the sub. Welcome to the Base Trade Brigade. Glad to have you on board. Nice Century Donuts, by the way. Keeps them all alive. Normally 1 or 2 of these end up trapping Link Zone with them and they all die, but that was well handled out of DnS. Credit where it's due. Warp Prism, though, still gonna be a problem, but the Queens are in position, so is a Spore Crawler. Transfuses will handle this, and this is what I was talking about. Like, for DnS, this is really low cost. It's not running away with the game, but Stephano's defending this pretty perfectly. Gets a kill, not a cancel. So for another few minutes, DnS is... This Nexus should have not only been completed at this point, this should have been pretty much saturated and good to go. Stephano has done an absolutely excellent job at shutting this down and really just eating into DNS's economy. The fact that this... Actually, let's go to the income graph, right? Yeah, as predicted. This is about where he started canceling the first one, the second one, the third one, and then killing the fourth one. He's just skyrocketing off this. This is so good for him because DnS is going to be mining out of the main shortly. The natural should last him for a good while still, but he needs a third base. He needs a third base. Stephano, you could also argue, needs a fourth, but the funny thing is, I think taking a fourth just creates a big extra hole in your defense. The fact that he's set up with all these Spine Crawlers and Queens and keeps canceling the third, he may be hoping that he's forcing DnS into an all-in. And if that's the case, then these Spine Crawlers are so goddamn genius. So he'll run in one more time, but the army's actually here this time. This will not work out for him if he actually commits. Stephano, if he identifies this quickly, shouldn't have too much of a problem, but forget that. Looks like he wants to commit. Baneling's on the way. You know, it wouldn't be cost effective at all, but at this point I'm almost wondering if it would be worth just Bane busting the Nexus down. Like, just straight up use everything you got and take down that Nexus, because DnS is so hard up for cash right now. But big Warpin's coming. Those Banelings don't have speed. He's got to wait 12 seconds. Speed's finished in 12 seconds. If Stephano goes any sooner, he's asking for trouble. There's going to be a couple of force fields. This is before Storm's done. Force fields to buy some time. Oh, these Banelings. There's so many of them, but they can't reach anything. Those Storms, seriously, 15 seconds for finishing. You guys have heard about timing attacks, but this is crazy. He's not going to get it, though. Storm is done at this point. Oh, my God. That got so dicey in timing. Like, let's be real, guys. If the DnS had missed any of those force fields, If more Baneleys had slipped through, because he did kind of mess up one of his force fields, if any of those Baneleys had slipped through, he could have actually lost an army, slash those Templars, slash this base, this game. Stephano is on a real good road to bring this back. My concern, though, is while he's up in army supply, it's still storms he's got to fight through. But he's going to try and fight in 2 different fronts. This might be good, it might be bad. We're going to see the Archons to the south might lose out, but the Archons to the north are kind of winning. I take that back, actually. The Baneleys managed to slip right through them, get on top of the sentries. The Archons to the south end up winning their fight, barely coming out of here with almost no shields remaining. Storm's cleaning up the Hydras, and Stephano's got to back up, lest he overcommits. And if he does, I don't think he can replace these Hydras, because remember, guys, he never took that 4th base. He's stuck on 3 for so long. He's moving on to Lurkers, which is an interesting element to this. So, I bring up Namshar's games versus Hearthstone. If you guys saw this, great. If you didn't, you have no idea what I'm referring to. I'll try and explain this, but Namshar never went Banelings, like, ever in the series versus Hearthstone, and he took it to the ace match every single time. In doing so, he went for Lurkers as a splash damage, and it worked out so well. Like Hearthstone you can't storm them, even if you want to get in range of the Immortals, you get in range of the Hydras. Like, it was really cool seeing pure Lurker Hydra. It didn't win the series, so I don't think it's amazing, but Lurkers proved to me that they have a spot in the matchup for sure. Big problem here, though, guys. DTs and Zealots warped into the main. There's a couple of Spine Crawlers, though, and a Spore, so detection won't be the problem here. And it looks like enough Zerglings on top of this. We push this back. He'll get the DTs out of here, maybe? Or maybe he'll just leave them. Secret agent. No, he's going to take that out. Okay. DnS gets to a 4th, Stephano has to a 4th, but they're expanding towards each other, and this can't be good for either player. I think, though, I really like the Lurker aspect to this. I don't think Stephano needs to go overboard, but typically if you are going to go Lurkers, 3 or 4 is not going to cut it. You're really going to need like 8 or more if you can afford it. The beauty in this, too, was, I hate to reference this guy, but Guru was like the biggest Lurker abuser of all time in the beta, and even in early Legacy of the Void. And man, just sometimes dumb brute force Lurkers work. Just straight up. There's no air. Stephano knows that. There's no Phoenix that are gonna be lifting these out of the ground. There's no Tempest shooting them from far away. There's no Void Ray to melt them down. So I mean, Lurkers have a lot of staying power, even with the Immortals and the Storms considered. In fact, is there even much detection? There's no observers! There's no detection! Oh god. I don't know if he realizes this. He's gonna back away. He has to back away. He can't see the Lurkers. Realizing this, he starts up an observer immediately. But this is Stephano's opportunity to get in here. He's blind storming. He misses entirely. This might clue Stephano into the fact that he can't see him. And if he advances all the Lurkers on top of the Nexus, easy peasy to kill that one cannon. That's going to be the only form of detection. Meanwhile, back at home, there's a problem in the main. Zealots and DTs on the way. We'll see how this goes in a moment. We'll check back in with it. But looks like this base has for the most part been abandoned. As he backs away, 10 probes die. No money for DNS. Meanwhile, over to the main, these Hydras are dealing with the situation. He's just got to bait this closer for detection. Takes out the High Templar. Good defense at home. Now, there is finally going to be an observer out. We have one on the front lines, so there's not going to actually be that freebie element that we just witnessed. But that being said, observers are kind of derpy, and if they're controlled poorly, they float too far to the front lines, and Stephano may be able to pick it off with the Hydralisks. Maybe. We say maybe on this one, guys. Lurkers have a really cool dynamic, though, that haven't been in the game so far. They haven't been introduced all day, and I'm really rooting for them because I like Lurkers. But, oh, he's got to be careful. Doesn't get caught out of position. Lurkers are going to burrow. It's a lot of splash damage. DNS has to be careful about this. Even though Archons have the health they do, and they take no bonus damage from the Lurkers, Lurkers just drive a straight line of death through your army. Look at that. Even the Zealots, just shields removed immediately. It's like watching a player EMP him with just one attack. This army out of DNS is formidable, to say the least. But Stephano's using his Lurkers to kind of zone it out. This is really cool. I like this. Realizing he has to protect his Lurkers, though he turns around with the Hydras. The Lurkers do get removed from play, and the Hydras get crushed beneath it. Oh, so many of these Immortals. Like 1 or 2 more hits would have crushed them. But there's the tap out. GG. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. DNS takes 2nd place in the group and advances on to the round of 16. Now officially in the money for the Ting Open Season 4. But boy, that was the long cast today. 5 hours. Ugh. I'm looking forward to Bly's games tomorrow because they should be quick. Win or lose, they should be quick. But okay, if you guys haven't seen what's coming up tomorrow, we have a group of another 4 block of Europeans. It's starting at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and I'm going to guess 7 CEST, but I don't actually know if that's the case or not. Anyways, point is, it's going to have some fantastic players. We got Harstem, Bly, Optimus, and Snoot playing all best of 5s for your pleasure. I hope you guys will come join us for that. But yeah, man, I don't even know what to say. Today was awesome. We got the most. It's been a long. We didn't have like a sub after sub after sub after sub train, but we had so many new subs today. Thank you very much. All good, by the way. Twitch priming it up for 2 months to say, can you do a SC2 real scale mod tournament? Ooh, you know what? I've wanted to ever since I saw Loco do those videos, but yeah, I can't. We just don't have time. Look at our events schedule real quick, right? Go to Twitch, go to the top, hit events. Look how much we're doing every single day. And on some of these days, double days. There's just no time to do one right now, unfortunately. But I would love to for sure. Anyways, 29 new subscribers, 124 follows. This was a really good stream. Thank you guys so much. I always get super self-conscious about solo casting. I try not to say anything about it during the whole cast today. But you guys were being so nice to me at the end with some compliments. I couldn't help but bring it up and say thank you guys. But yeah. I have to solo cast the next 3 days in a row, and then I think Zombie Grub's back, or maybe it's 2 days and Zombie Grub's back. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, a little bit of solo casting in the future, and then we get into more of the normal stuff. But yeah, that's gonna close up today. So big thank you to Ting for making this possible, for making this tournament happen. Oh, we got some bitty bits being sprinkled here at the end. Who was that? 100 bits coming from Zozo. Did you finally fix that cheer issue? Let me see. Well, yeah, we fixed it. We fixed the donation issue too. We fixed everything. I was very angry that we had those problems, but I like the new sounds and the alerts, and I'm glad they're working. Anyways, excuse me, my throat's actually dying here. Once again, thank you guys for joining me on the broadcast today. If you haven't seen much about TING, we're going to play one last commercial from them to end the stream. Big congratulations again to both DnS and Mana for winning the group. 2 Protoss going to the round of 16. That being said, if you guys want to see more StarCraft action, hit the follow button before you leave today. That way you come back and don't miss anything. Check out our events tab so you can see exactly when we're casting. Sometimes we do some stuff in the off days. Like yesterday, there was nothing on the schedule. We were scheduled to have a day off. Instead, I came in and we casted a 2v2 AI tournament. Dumbest thing I've ever done to date. But it was a lot of fun, and we raised $200 to give away to other streamers. In fact, I went back and I clipped those moments. So if you guys didn't see what happened yesterday, I do have a TLDR version I'm going to link in chat. It's a tweet, but it's got 2 clips from the 2 streamers. We raised $200 in prize money from the fans. We gave $100 to 2 different streamers. We hosted one, and I think it's safe to say we made their day because they were very happy about it. I was very happy to do it. So here's some links to that tweet that shows those clips. Other than that, guys, we're going to end the stream by throwing to our commercials from our sponsors one last time. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific. Oh, shit. Mr. Boris Makarov, $16 coming in at the very end of the day. Oh, that fills up my jar. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to Subway. It says, here's to you, boss. Mr. Boris, thank you for everything you do and that donation. But more importantly, for everything you do for modding. I love you, dude. Thanks so much. But like I said, guys, we gotta go to commercial so I can end the stream and stop talking. But thank you for the 200 bits. Hello, Zergling. Congratulations on being the new bit boss. And yeah, word from Ting. See you guys later.